share that link. Going to be on screen in just a minute. And here we go with another episode of Mind Your Biz Live. My name is Seth. You're watching Mind Your Biz. We're going to talk about all things crypto, including proof of work, GPU mineable coins, especially in particular. For many, many years, that has been what I focus on. Thank you for being subscribed. If you're new to the channel, or if you're just acting like a looky-loo. Appreciate you also paying attention to the top news articles with me, because this is how we find alpha when markets are correcting. On today's lineup, we got several things, including Gatorade, or the company that owns Gatorade, getting into the NFT and crypto action, real estate being purchased in exchange for Bitcoin cryptocurrencies, and the question of public trust for cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. So it's not an insubstantial episode. Let's start off with the Fear and Greed Index. Score of 27, down from yesterday's score of 28, but pretty much in line with what last week's score was. We've been flatlining, or we've been kind of ranging in this area of fear and greed for some time. People are very, very worried about what's going on with now multiple years of money printing, and at this point, the obvious signs of inflation. Is anybody really surprised? I don't know anybody personally who is. We sort of could have seen this coming. We could have predicted that there would be some kind of an issue with all the money printing. Eventually, they would have a problem with some kind of an inflation event. So here we are. Guys, appreciate you again sharing the link while we are live, hitting that thumbs up. It does mean a lot. Every click counts. But let's talk about why the Fear and Greed Index is still kind of low sentiment. In my opinion, well, here's a chart for Bitcoin. It has to do with Bitcoin kind of ranging sideways, being really, really boring, but in a general downtrend. Let's go ahead and place our chopsticks here. I think it's finally time for us to go ahead and just slice right through that. We're going to call that the outlier, that movement right there, and call this the channel that Bitcoin is operating in. Gandalf Gray is in the chat saying, hit that like. Appreciate that, Gandalf. Thank you. And I'm going to draw this over to there. We're going to move over. We're going to extend this range here because we're still in that operating in that green area. But we're going to call this red candle kind of the outlier. I thought it was the other way around. I thought that we were looking at a more steep downward trend, but it looks more like, no, we're just kind of moving steadily downward. And we've had a couple of, we've had that one, breakout to the downside from that trend. We're only using the one-day chart, and it bears mentioning that I'm not offering you legal, financial, or investing advice when I show you that chart. Let me just be very, very clear. I don't ever intend to offer you any kind of legal, financial, or investing advice. If you need help with your cryptocurrency taxes, for example, go talk to a CPA, go talk to somebody who is a certified tax professional. Or if you're looking for somebody to give you advice, specifically advice on your investments, then go talk to somebody who can give you advice on your investments. That would be the right way to handle that sort of thing. But this chart, I mean, this is public info. This is freely available info at that, using tradingview.com, using the free tools at tradingview.com. And this is what the chart looks like to me, back in that green range, which if you've been following the channel for a while, I think that the green kind of means go. It's a little bit like a stoplight. Kind of just means go. I'm comfortable DCing in this range down. On those red candle days, that's just fine. That said, how do I like to take those DCAs? How do I like to get exposure to cryptocurrencies? Well, I like running my e-commerce store with a cryptocurrency plugin in order to accept Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies at the point of sale in an e-commerce store. Will I be using my own fiat currency to buy Bitcoin? Maybe in some cases, but probably not. I'm more just going to be taking exposure, and then without taking profits, right? Without selling, just getting exposure that way. It's a very easy thing to do. Anybody who runs an online shop, anybody who, like, say, flips sneakers or is into real estate or has any other business interest can add cryptocurrency as a payment, as a method of payment, and then get exposure to cryptocurrencies that way. So that's what I'm doing. Without offering advice to anybody else, I think it's a very easy way to get more exposure in these ranges here. But you let me know what you think in the comments. Wow, I am seeing a lot of viewers pouring in. Do be sure that you're not just, looky-loos. Do be sure that you're not just rubbernecking. Hit those buttons. Be subscribed if you're not already. But that's our current chart on Bitcoin. And we're going to call this sort of the canary in the coal mine. Most of the time, wherever Bitcoin goes by way of price action, the rest of the market follows. It's not that every single coin is correlated to Bitcoin, but many are. So it makes sense in my mind to chart Bitcoin. But let's take a look at Ethereum really fast. Current gas price is 59 Gwei, which means the median transfer fee for ETH itself is 345, and the median contract fee is just over $14. It is pretty darn good, I think, because of ApeCoin and the land sale within Otherworld, or the ApeCoin, their Metaverse land sale. It kind of drove the cost of gas way up. I mean, we're talking about thousands of Gwei in gas price. Nearly broke Ethereum. Again, we hear this all the time, though it didn't break down as badly as Solana did, right? They called it the mainnet beta instead of just calling it Solana, right? The main Solana. Call it the mainnet beta because of how adversely it affected it. So yeah, I think that there's a little bit of at this point, the pendulum's swinging the other way. People stopped using Ethereum for a while. I did some trades. I worked on my portfolio last night. The moment I saw the gas fees were down, made sure that I unstaked some, or removed some liquidity pairs from Uniswap and did some trades as needed to prepare my portfolio for the upcoming snapshot of Pulsechain. I'm not telling you what to do and not endorsing Hex or Pulsechain. If you're not, I mean, if you don't believe in it, if you don't care for it, I'm not going to be able to convince you between now and then. But I am preparing some of my portfolio that's on Ethereum for that snapshot. And specifically, I'm trying to make sure that I have the correct tokens that will receive a proper fork, or will receive a proper mirrored copy in that chain state snapshot when the Pulsechain mainnet goes live. So in my mind, worst case scenario is they're worthless tokens, right? They're just worthless tokens that can't be moved. But best case scenario is they maintain some of their market peg, even if it's 50% or less. It's still something, and it's still an airdrop. And I think it's one of the more generous airdrops that I've received, other than the Uniswap airdrop for multiple addresses that many people did, like myself. So I don't see the downside in preparing myself, except for the cost of gas. So we're looking at the cost of gas here over on TXStreet.com. And when I noticed that, I started to arrange some of the portfolio so I could be in a much more advantageous position when snapshots happen. And of course, using other services and stuff too. Like if you have to do business on Ethereum, then you kind of want to wait until the gas fees aren't at their highest, right? Just like a bit like if you have to commute for work, right? If you can avoid it, you try to avoid rush hour, right? If it's ever possible, you avoid rush hour. And the same is true of using Ethereum. Bitcoin median SAP per VByte, or median fee, is 6.99, so about 39 cents for every transaction. Great time still to do some mixing if you need to. Gandalf Gray says, question on hardware wallets. Is there a limit to the amount of tokens and coins that a wallet can hold? You can wait to answer this when or if it's applicable. Great question. We'll come back to that in just a little while. I'll keep that over on my screen. But today's news items, we've got a lot of really exciting stuff. I think it bodes well for the cryptocurrency markets. It shows really solid health for cryptocurrency markets. So let's start from the very top with the story about Gatorade. Gatorade is owned by a company called Stokely Van Camp, and Stokely Van Camp submitted a request to the United States Patent and Trademark Office, the USPTO, saying that the G-shaped orange, black, and white logo, their trademark, can be used in connection with, air quotes, virtual beverage products and non-fungible tokens, or NFTs. And then somebody reported on it over on Twitter. You can see a snapshot right here saying Stokely Van Camp. There's a serial number. There's the filing date, the 27th of last month. and calling it virtual beverage products, digital media, namely artwork, text, audio, video, and or non-fungible tokens of such text, audio, and video or non-fungible tokens. So pretty cool to see that they're taking this seriously. Now, do I care to have a Gatorade, so a consumable beverage inside of a metaverse? For me, no, it's not something that I'm interested in. But it's very good to see them taking this seriously. It may also be something that they're using down the line for redeemable NFTs that can then trigger a real world event. So there may be some crossover into real world utility as well. Imagine, for example, getting an unlimited drink pass from this company, Stokely Van Camp, which is also the owner of PepsiCo, right? Getting some kind of an NFT that then enables you to get unlimited drinks at, say, partner theater chains, right? And unlimited drinks at partner sports venues, or unlimited drinks at some other venue because you happen to have that NFT on your person. So it looks really cool that it's got the Gatorade logo, but it could be a sort of like general Gatorade pass when you go to some of these venues to be able to get free refills on your Gatorade branded drinks. I don't know. I'm spitballing here. I don't know if that's necessarily part of their plan, but the point is NFTs do make this sort of thing possible. This kind of utility and much, much more is possible. And right now, I can see them, pulling this out as a Hail Mary, like, all right, we got to get on board. Otherwise, we'll get left behind in the future when people are starting to build out these real world experiences attached to NFTs. You tell me what you think in the comments, but the rest of the article goes this way. The logo could be used in digital media, artwork, text, and audio and video, but it could take roughly 6 months to examine the application. It's government. Good grief. It's a government organization. Obviously, it's going to take time, but it's going to take, at least half a year, roughly. Could take longer, frankly. I mean, who knows? They could drag their feet. It could take a year or longer. The wheels of government move very, very slowly. But the company itself, on just the Gatorade brand, sold roughly $2.6 billion worth of products in the U.S.-based convenience stores in 2021 and controlled 46% of the worldwide sports drink market. Whew. I mean, this is sugar water, guys. Basically, by any other name, it's sugar and water with a little bit of salt in order to give you electrolytes. Like, I don't know if it gets more basic than that, right? As far as a product that you can sell in convenience stores or a product that you can sell to a retail market or consumers. I mean, Gatorade, for them to sell $2.6 billion worth of the stuff is, in my mind, nothing shy of a miracle. But let's compare that to some of the cryptocurrency market caps. When you've got tentpole cryptos like Ethereum or some of the other smart contract networks like Solana or like Terra with a market valuation, current market cap, not fully diluted, mind you, but just with the coins in circulation, a market cap in the tens of billions of dollars, doesn't seem so crazy that these companies would want to get in on NFTs and find some way to enter into that virtual market where they can start front loading their sales pipeline with some kind of digital media. So it makes sense to me. Looking at the numbers, looking at what they sold last year, it made a lot more sense to me. But apparently other brands like Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Anheuser-Busch, sports footwear, apparel manufacturers like Nike, and I'm sure Adidas as well, also have applications with the USPTO from November of last year. So for the name, slogan, and logos for use in online virtual worlds. I think it's only a matter of time before Adidas, Puma, Reebok, which as I understand it, are all one company now. They're a conglomerate too. It's only a matter of time before all of them jump on board in order to front load their sales pipeline. It's really that simple. Front loading the sales pipeline and then dealing with delivery down the line. Because once you secure the bag as a business, this is an ancient business truism. Once you secure the bag, you've bought yourself time. You've bought yourself runway to be able to deliver the goods. All you have to do is keep that relationship with your customer healthy. And so for any of these companies or these brands being involved in a metaverse, I mean, people are going to be able to interact with the brand and have a token of value in their possession from the moment they make that transfer, and that NFT is in their wallet, right? So that buys those brands even more time. Imagine, for example, Nike or Gatorade, in this case, dropping a hint at a new product and then you purchasing an NFT and then saying, cool, we're getting to it. Now, I mean, in the crypto space, we're used to this, right? The announcement of the announcement of the announcement. Hey, I see New World Cryptos in the chat. Thanks for being here, brother. Appreciate that. So the announcement of the announcement of the announcement, the Tron phenomenon, right? Well, now if these brands get involved in it, it could be like the next, whatever, Coke Zero, the next version of Coke Zero or Coke Classic or Coke Green Label with, half and half stevia and cane sugar. Something like that could be announced, sold as an NFT, and then the moment it's available, 6 months later, it could literally take that long to get to market, and they can blame supply chain issues, but get something digital to you in the metaverse right away. Right? As a consumer, as a customer, that will help you feel better about the purchase you just made. And I think they know that. I think they're very aware of that. But yeah, I think this is actually bullish for the cryptocurrency and the metaverse markets, NFTs in particular. You tell me in the chat what you think about this. Would you buy a virtual Gatorade? And why? Or why not? Like, what are your reasons for being in on this kind of action or saying that you don't want this? Tell me in the comments as we go. Next piece of news, there's a mysterious Connecticut homeowner that will accept Bitcoin or Ethereum for their mansion. Ooh, is it really a mystery that somebody would want to accept harder currencies than the US dollar in exchange for their real estate? I don't think it's that mysterious personally, but that's the way it's being framed over at bncrypto.com. They're in Greenwich, Connecticut, and apparently they're ready to accept a couple different cryptocurrencies, not just any old cryptocurrency, but they're ready to accept some cryptocurrencies, and they call it the first of its kind. There's no requirement for buyers to convert their cryptocurrencies into fiat. I'm here to tell you, first off, it's not the first of its kind, but there's a caveat here. We'll take a look at that in the article. The highlights mention specifically that it's the first of its kind in the history of Greenwich, Connecticut. So locally, this is a local precedent that they're setting here, which is important, right? Every market is going to need to have this kind of a transaction on the books to be able to prove that it's possible with that particular land registrar, with that particular title company, right, in that area, being able to do titles and transfers in exchange for cryptocurrencies natively. Every municipality, every state, at least here in the United States, every country across the world is going to have to start figuring out, how do we record this at the county recorder's office or whatever the local land recorder's office is? How do we make sure that titles are properly assigned and transferred when they've been paid for with cryptocurrencies? How do we make sure that settlement definitely happens? And how do we make sure that there's not any abuse in that system? As it is today, real estate already suffers from rampant bank wire fraud. So when title companies send the information in order for bank wires to happen, they're still using email, even though ironically, fax would actually be more secure. A facsimile, right? Using just the older, dial-up fax machines would actually be more secure. It's not known to be abused in the same way. But apparently those get intercepted all the time, and then people get their money stolen when trying to purchase a home using bank wire. So the question is, will they tighten up those security practices when it comes to using cryptocurrencies instead? Not sure that they'll definitely do that. But the point is, we need to iron out those kinks in every major market. And it's happening now in Greenwich. Apparently, it's going to happen in Greenwich, Connecticut, once this property finally sells. But they're willing to accept either Bitcoin or Ethereum. And yeah, they're looking at $6.5 million as a purchase price for this property. And they don't need the cash, apparently. I don't think that they plan to sell it as such or transfer it to like Coinbase or some other centralized exchange for a quick sale or flip. It looks like they just want the cryptocurrencies at the current market price. They're happy with prices. As I mentioned earlier, I am too. I think it could go lower, definitely could go lower. But nobody can read the markets so well that they can time the bottom. So that's why I'm okay with the range that we're in right now. And I think this person is too. But you tell me, would you sell your car or your house for crypto right now? Because, they're looking at keeping the initial payment, right? Keeping the initial payment, or specifically the earnest money, very first. Keeping it in cryptocurrency regardless of fluctuations. Gallo Salome's in the chat saying, "What's up? Good to see your face. Thank you so much. Appreciate that." So even though the price is down, this buyer or this seller is saying they'll keep whatever crypto they get natively in crypto. But again, I ask you, audience, would you do it? Would you sell your house? Would you sell your car for crypto or for Bitcoin right now? Which one, Ethereum or Bitcoin, and why? Tell me why you would or why you wouldn't in the chat or down in the comment section if you're watching this after we are live. And then the last article that we have for today's segment is about Doge. Not too big a shock, but You Today brings us an article about how the trust in Dogecoin is decreasing in the United States. And here's the data point that they're using. A company called Morning Consult measures this, and they call it trust across, or sort of a net trust score across all of these. Gallo gives great advice saying we need more like smashing. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate that, and I agree. So apparently the net trust score across all these major cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Dogecoin, and then of course cryptocurrency in general, is decreasing over time. From January of this year, 2022, up till April of this year, 2022, the net trust scores have basically dropped pretty significantly, but actually none so heavily as with Ethereum. Trust was much higher in Ethereum at the start of this year than it is right now. I wonder if that has to do with more broken promises with Ethereum, maybe higher hopes for Ethereum at the start of the year, people hoping that Ethereum 2.0 would roll out. Many who naively thought that the Beacon Chain merge would just happen. As indicated, I've expressed my skepticism over the last year with other GPU mining content creators, and really anybody who's asked me, I've just told them straight up that I have some skepticism about how quickly if the Ethereum core developers can deliver on their promised roadmap. So is that maybe why? Are there a lot of people who just maybe believed that the Beacon Chain merge would happen really fast, that we'd have proof of stake, and that everybody who believed in the proof of stake promise would just be, they would be the new guardians of the Ethereum network? Maybe? Or is it something else? You tell me. Do you think it's something else? Bitcoin, of course, the trust score did not drop nearly as much, but it did drop. And then same with Dogecoin, dropping about almost the same range, 8 points versus the 8 for overall cryptocurrency, kind of lockstep with the overall trust score for cryptocurrency, and then a little bit less steep for Bitcoin. So yeah, kind of an average of those two of Bitcoin and Ethereum for the overall trust score in cryptocurrencies. But I mean, let's be very, very real. People have also been rug pulled by the US dollar. So the way that some of these cryptocurrencies have been valued over the last several months, I think it's suspect. Everything when it comes to the traditional markets, commodities, equities, everything is kind of up in the air. People are very, very nervous. So I can't imagine that they're going to somehow magically have, like the average retail participant, I don't know how they're going to magically have more trust in cryptocurrencies when they don't have maybe the same vision that some of us do who've been involved for a while and are hoping that the long-term roadmap of crypto is better than fiat currency. But apparently they have this data point also. I think it's hilarious. They say at the same time, 2/3 of U.S. adults say that they trust U.S. adults. So the trust score, the trust score for just for within this system isn't particularly high. It's not 100%. So that's kind of funny. And despite having very little trust in cryptocurrencies, consumers are still willing to buy them. And I think that is the silver lining moment right there. That's the key takeaway for me, is that your trust may decrease, but if you've got discretionary income, what are people spending it on? Are they spending it on traditional equities and commodities? Are they spending it on bearer assets like gold or anything else? So, yeah, I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that this is all over yet. I think it's funny that they bring it up. We got DCF saying he's going to one up everyone. He sell his wife and kids for Bitcoin. Hey man, if that's times are tough, but we haven't hit the bottom yet. I hate to take a news flash, man. Things will get worse before they get better. I would keep one or two of those as an ace up the sleeve if I were you. But you got to do what you got to do. Just saying, man. Start with the child you like least, and just tell them, man. I mean, if you got to let them go, cut once, cut deep. Be like, hey, kiddo, you never clean your room, so out, fired. Yeah, I think you get the right idea. Just give them to them straight. Give it to them straight. Let's take a look really briefly at something we don't normally take a look at, and that's the Bitcoin dominance chart. Why would I want to take a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart? Well, because we're looking at overall trust in cryptocurrency markets. This is a new data point for today's live stream that I just think is important for us to quickly look at before we look at DeFi Llama or Map of Zones or any of the other tools that we typically check in with on this live stream. And then, yes, do bring your questions to me. And of course, bring those comments. DCF adds some much needed flavor to our chat by letting us know that his wife and kids are for sale. I don't know if it's for rent or for sale, so we're going to need a clarification there. I'm just saying, rent. I'm a little bit worried about whether or not the police are going to see that the same way that all of us do. I mean, we're all reasonable adults, but the police might not get it if you say that they're for rent. Just saying, man, like wife swap. It's a TV show. What is that other than like renting? It's trade, right? Barter system. You're just bartering for crypto. Duh. Makes sense to me anyway. But I think that seeing the Bitcoin dominance chart is going to help us figure out how to put everything else into context. And right now we are still dipping at only 42% dominance for Bitcoin. Some would argue, hey, well, you can only measure Bitcoin dominance against other proof of work coins or against other coins that are trying to be hard currency, that are going for a pure currency play. That's the only way. But I disagree. I think we can actually look at Bitcoin dominance compared to everything out there. Why? Because it exists. It's taken up total value. It's taken up TVL. It's taken people's real world fiat dollars and then put it into a distributed ledger. So we need to let that whole ecosystem battle it out on those terms, not just proof of work that's trying to be hard currency. DCF says, awesome stream, by the way. Love you on Around the Blockchain. Thanks so much. Appreciate that. Appreciate you being here as well. This is something we do every now and then. Trying to get back in the swing of things, guys. I am prepping that second channel. I promised you that I would. I don't know that I'm going to migrate this channel. I think we're going to try to keep it exactly where it is, but we are starting the second channel. I can't make any other announcements about it yet today, but there is work being done on it, and I'm so excited to unveil it officially from the Mind Your Biz channel very, very soon. But Bitcoin dominance, 42%. What does it mean? Well, let's take a look at DeFi Llama. Ethereum isn't exactly holding its dominance, well, or recovering its dominance either, but it is holding it pretty well, I think, because of those uncertain times that we've been faced with in DeFi. 55% has kind of been the line that Ethereum is holding, and it's been holding it doggedly. When we looked at this trend several months ago, you remember I said, hey, incoming, maybe a dip towards 50% or lower on Ethereum. I thought that Ethereum was going to do what Bitcoin is doing and dip below 50% dominance and kind of stay there. Bitcoin has historically gone up to 60% dominance in the overall market cap for all cryptocurrencies, and then occasionally pulled back to 40%, sort of yielding some ground to Ethereum, which has taken upwards of 20% of the entire crypto market cap from just an overall total value locked metric, right? How many US dollars have been pushed into this coin or that coin, and they've kind of traded blows, right? Where Ethereum takes a cheap shot at Bitcoin and gains about 20% of the overall market cap, but not the case right now. It kind of does its own thing, and DeFi kind of moves in its own very unique way. But Ethereum is holding about that 55% dominance mark with DeFi. How are they doing it? If you've got a great idea, I mean, let me know in the comments what you think the possible answer is there. I'm not going to give any of my thoughts here because I haven't totally collected any yet. I'm just still kind of in awe of the fact that Ethereum is pulling it off. One possible scenario is that there are a lot of Ethereum maxis, or there are a lot of people who are starting to catch the vision, as I feel I have, of Pulsechain not being the be-all, end-all of EVM chains. I think there's really healthy competition in the market right now, and I think we need really healthy competition in the market right now. But I think Pulsechain is one of those chains that's going to launch with very heavy utilization and very heavy support from the Hex community. Is the Hex community perfect? No. Is Hex as a coin perfect? No, it's not perfect. It's not perfect. It can't be all things to all people, right? Like when you talk about the Hexicans who say like, okay, well, you got to stake it and you get all these rewards. Okay, well then, if you stake it, how are you going to keep it liquid to use it? Do you intend to use it as hard currency? No. Okay, you don't want it to be hard currency. You want it to be a store of value. You want the number to go up. Okay, cool. But what about hard currency? There's got to be room for that, right? So cryptocurrency needs hard currencies. It needs hard money. But it also needs, savings instruments. It also needs yield instruments. It also needs trade. It also needs loans, right? Like you need all these different sides of an economic system to be able to have full health in that system. So anyway, I just mean to say, like, I think part of what's happening here with Ethereum might be the Pulsechain launch. Without me saying, like, sounding like a maxi for any given group or sounding like a zealot for any given group. I just think it may be one solid reason because, like me, I'm holding a bit of my EVM chain currencies on Ethereum precisely because I want to prepare for that snapshot. If they're going to airdrop me all of my coins, all my tokens, I mean, it'd be really cool to be able to grow my bag that way, don't you think? So we'll see. We'll see when it launches too, what kind of hiccups it has, because no EVM chain is perfect. No chain ever is perfect. So we'll see what happens there. But I think that may be what's happening here. Looking at, March into April, as it became more of a reality that the Pulsechain test nets were live during that time, Ethereum hasn't dipped much. Yeah, there you go, to about 54%, but it hasn't dipped much below 55% without popping right back up. And it totally bucked the trend that it was on before. That trend line was consistently down, you see, over time. Whereas on this show, we started making commentary on this way up in the mid 60% range. So we've lost 10% of the market dominance for Ethereum in the DeFi, in the DeFi ecosystem. But it has pretty much held right here. That's the best explanation I can give as to why it's holding, is because people who are holding their value on Ethereum are looking forward to airdrops. That's it. And it could be like other airdrops too. It could be optimism airdrops. It could be any number of other DEX and AMM airdrops. There's all kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of stuff that people could be looking forward to. But I think one of the biggest ones is, this entire chain state being airdropped onto Pulsechain when it launches. So, that's just one crazy hypothesis on my part. But yeah, what is this double count? Oh my gosh! Wait, come here. Include TVL protocols which TVL feeds into another protocol. Oh, I don't think I want to double count. That's actually a very good thing to be able to see. And you know what? That helped answer the question. Wow, we haven't had that pre-selected for us by DeFi Llama to date, and it completely reversed that trend. Did you notice that? Completely released the trend, right? So now we do see that, that it's moving for 55% when we don't double count certain protocols down to 50% and then popping back up to 51. I still think that it's a little less intense, but the trend does continue. Oh my gosh, guys. Well, I mean, don't ever say that I won't change my mind when presented with new information, because I will. That's the biggest thing, guys. Biggest key takeaway there. Like, I will change my mind when new information is presented and I synthesize it correctly, right? When I actually understand it. But it looks like, that was unfortunately being double counted there. Even still, for it to be above 50%, I think is a pretty much amazing thing. We'll see though if that decreases significantly before the Pulsechain snapshot and airdrop. Let's see. I think for the rest of the DeFi Llama segment, guys, I don't want to go too deep into that because I want to take a look at some of our portfolios a little more in depth. Map of Zones gives us a little overview of the IBC ecosystem. And if you're not familiar with IBC, it's Inter-Blockchain Communication Protocol. It's something very unique to the Cosmos Hub ecosystem. So Osmosis DEX, Cosmos itself, Terra, which most people don't even realize is technically kind of like a child chain. Almost like child chains, almost like parallel chains or parachains within the Polkadot ecosystem. IBC is its own unique thing. We're probably going to do a couple of dedicated videos just on that, but spoiler alert, that's going to go on the new channel. We will be doing explainers of all that stuff that's just like short, sweet, to the point, and gives those basic level explainers. So we can just talk about whatever we want on these live streams and on these shows and not have to worry about going back to basics and talking about some of the beginner stuff for anybody who might not know about that side of cryptocurrency, the beginner questions. And all of us have beginner questions somewhere, right? Like that's the other reality, is that you might be an expert on Ethereum, but maybe you haven't heard much about Pulsechain. You might be an expert on Pulsechain because you were brought into cryptocurrency by a friend who was into Hex. But you might not have heard of Polkadot. You might be a Polkadot person, but not know why anybody would be interested in EOS or Cardano or anything else at all. And I'm not going to put any value judgments there. I just want to say, like, it's so important for us to get educated, and it's hard to know enough, even the basics of all these different ecosystems, you know? So that's what the new channel is all about. We'll talk more about that again in the coming days and weeks. I can't wait to tell you more. But point is, IBC ecosystem. Osmosis, it's at the top of the list. In what metric, right? That's what another question we have to ask when we're taking a look at these different markets. We can't just say like, well, that's the number one crypto. What do you mean the number one crypto? You mean it has the highest number of users? You mean it has the highest number of transactions with real value on them, not just like signing from your wallet, or not just like sending an NFT, but like actual like dollar value, right? We're going to use that as the unit of account, as US dollars, but actually moving things back and forth. Polaris Raven 13 says, good afternoon. There you go, guys. Look, proof of live stream. Polaris, thanks for being here. Appreciate you spending time with us right now during the live stream. But we are live. So guys, do bring in your questions as you have them. But yeah, so we got to ask, what do you mean number one cryptocurrency? Do you mean in volume? Do you mean in volume between these different blockchains? Because with this Cosmos ecosystem, the IBC ecosystem, we can boil it down to transfers between various different chains because they're all interoperable. Something from Osmosis DEX can go over to Cosmos. Something from Cosmos can go over to Terra, and it can go to Juno, right? The UST stablecoin works on all of these different chains. It's fully interactive, fully interoperable. So people who were talking about interoperability before, like now they actually have it. It's a real thing, very much a reality for them. So that's what I love about the Cosmos ecosystem. But we got to ask still, what do we mean by number one crypto in this category? Do you mean the number of transfers between these different coins? Because here, you might mean the volume, right? So the dollar value between these different coins. So by that number, it's Osmosis and Cosmos all day, but Terra has a lot of volume. IBC transfers, just the number of transfers from one wallet to another. That might be a way that you think is important to evaluate one of these cryptos. And if that's the case, Osmosis is still number one because it is a DEX and an AMM. It's a decentralized exchange and automated market maker protocol. So people can use it to earn yield and use it to do swaps between different kinds of coins that they may want. So of course, it's really popular. It's like Uniswap over on Ethereum, right? Or QuickSwap on Matic, right? On Polygon, or any of the other AMM DEX style Uniswap clones. So, but this is very different, right? But that's Osmosis is the biggest one. So of course you would, it stands to reason it has the most transfers. Look at that. Almost 3 times the number of transfers versus its nearest competitor. And that's just in the last 24 hours, 100,000 transactions. Like this is a really good sign of health for this network here, this chain here. And then Cosmos, etc. I mean, basically it pushes Terra all the way down, almost out of the top 10. It's a lot of transfers, right? When you measure it that way, it looks actually more significant than Terra does. Whether or not that's true, it's up to you, but it's a way to evaluate it. And then, of course, IBC volume out of that ecosystem, and it stacks it in a different order again. IBC volume in, re-ranks it a different way. And then there you go. And then unique addresses initiated outward IBC transfers. This is it's a kind of more unique metric for sure. And Gallo has a brilliant question, which I love seeing in the chat, guys. I really appreciate seeing your questions when we're live. Really, your questions, they fuel me. For me to be able to share with you just my take on it anyway, and have your questions come in, it's a big deal. So thank you for that. He's asking, what's your take on the Cadena price slowly bleeding down? Will we find cheap miners soon? We're going to take a look at that in just a minute when we go over our proof of work segment. But yeah, I want to get through this really fast on map of zones and evaluating some of our crypto projects here. But yeah, crypto.org, I mean, whether you want to believe it or not, the CRO network is really coming up. It's actually showing some real potential here. So that's why it's so important to evaluate these different coins using different criteria. Don't just get caught in the trap of thinking that TVL is the only thing that matters, or that market cap is the only thing that matters. It can't be the only criteria. And when we use that kind of like really rigid thought with the blinders on, we miss out on the bigger opportunities. Also, when we see that the number is big right now, that isn't always the biggest indicator of what its potential is for growth in the future, if that makes sense. In fact, if anything, it could be a counter indicator when we see that the market cap for a coin is really, really high. Well, how much more growth does it have left in it, right? It's sort of the Shiba Inu problem or the Dogecoin problem. When you got $35 billion or $40 billion of value in that coin, how are you going to double that coin price? You're looking at a price for that coin or overall market cap for that coin, then that's starting to give Ethereum a run for its money. You know what I mean? Or starting to give Solana a run for its money. So we do have to be careful about just looking at one metric and thinking that's the only thing that matters. But yeah, that's Map of Zones. Great tool, guys. And glad we had a chance to look at that. Take a look at whattomine.com. We're going to look just at GPU miners right now. And I apologize. I'm in the light mode, not the dark mode. 14 cents per kilowatt hour. And our top of the line RTX 3090 Ti is now doing about $3.50. $3.45. So, about $3.50. Oof. Not good. Really not good. But it does mean that nature is healing. It does mean that we should probably start seeing reasonable prices for GPUs. We could take a look and do a price check on this live. I'd rather not. I'll put that in our community tab after this live stream is over. But just say for right now that yes, the price, the profitability for mining Ethereum is down, and that's probably going to result in steadily decreasing prices for GPUs. The smartest of the GPU mining community, those who are the most loyal in the GPU mining community, are going to be looking for opportunities to scoop up motherboards, SSDs, RAM, and power supplies, all of the rest of the infrastructure, and cases that can accommodate 6 or 8 or 12 GPUs. That's going to be the sort of thing that it makes sense to scoop up very, very soon, but maybe not yet. You do your own research there, and don't take this as advice. Just a warning from yours truly that you might want to start putting your feelers out now in advance as you see prices dropping there. If it's something you're committed to, if you're about that life, GPU mining lifestyle, and you do not want to quit that as a hobby or as a money-making venture, then you got to start looking for those deals now. Just, keep your eyes peeled, keep your ear to the ground. Just be sure that you know where the deals are going to come from in the near future. But for right now, the profitability of each GPU is going down. So be aware. It's kind of a bummer. I would not be buying GPUs, but I've been telling you that for a couple of months. I would not be buying GPUs right now if I were you. So I'm not giving advice, just telling you I'm not buying GPUs. Even though I need one for my workstation. I want an upgrade for my workstation. I'm still not buying GPUs because I actually believe that the prices can go lower. And tech is going to be one of those industries in which inflation, I think, will be the last. It'll be the last area where we feel inflation is in technology. Ironically, I think we're going to feel it in other goods and services, food, infrastructure, gasoline, utilities, but not tech. TVs and laptops and computer gear. I think we're going to be feeling the rising rates of inflation there last. So that's my take on it, but feel free to push back. Feel free to tell me that you think I'm off. I would love to hear it. I'd love to hear your reasoning. The bottom of the line, guys, we've got not only the older R9 380 that's out of profit, but the 4 gig Polaris cards that are basically at this point, they're just not doing anything at all. Shout out to Bitsby Trippin, who has right-sized his power costs and is still mining on a fairly significant fleet of these older cards, but he has put them in liquid immersion and has brought them to the correct cost for power. So he's going to remain profitable for a while. Guy is my absolute hero as far as that goes. So pretty cool there. All right, guys, portfolio time. Wait, what the? Oh, yeah. Also, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Turn on notifications as well. That was totally intentional. Anyway, So looking at our portfolios, guys, we got our GPU mining portfolio. Flux Network is up, and I've got great news to share there. Greg Osuri of the Akash Network project, which is a distributed compute project similar to Flux Network, but different, on the Cosmos IBC ecosystem, has agreed to do a public debate moderated by yours truly with Daniel Keller from the Flux Network. I'm so excited to make this happen. So just so you know, that is confirmed to happen. Those two heads of project are going to be on the Mind Your Biz channel. We're going to do a moderated debate in the friendliest manner possible. I want to know what shared problems they're trying to solve and how they can potentially even help each other as projects reach across the aisle and have there be more censorship resistance to the projects that they enable through distributed compute, through decentralized compute and decentralized cloud. I'm not trying to pick a winner in that race. I want to see their core value proposition of censorship resistant, decentralized cloud computing come to life. I just want to see more people using that product. So I'm excited to have a date announced for that debate. Because Flux is doing very well on the side of the portfolio. Since we first put it in, the P&L is very, very healthy. Over 7 days, though, it's gone up 10%, which is awesome to see. Let's see over the last 7 days what else has done well. Equilibria is still doing very admirably, very well. Conceal our number 2, and then Ton Token our number 4. Nothing else, unfortunately, is in the money right now, but our biggest loser this week is Haven, down to $2.51. It just cannot seem to keep its peg above the $3 mark. And that makes me truly sad, but I'm going to say something. I keep on hitting that button. I got to get my Stream Deck set up again. Those buttons are a lot easier. But I'm going to say something that probably needs to be said. There are a couple of privacy-oriented coins and networks that, while they do their job very, very well, they're maybe not multi-purpose enough, if that makes sense. They're not general purpose enough. And if you saw me on Crypto Blood's channel the other day with the Sunday session, pardon me, got a little bit of dust in the studio. But on Crypto Blood's channel, I mentioned that Zcash is a prime example of this. Zcash using ZK Snark technology, well, guess what else uses that? The Tornado Cash platform that runs on top of Ethereum in a smart contract system. Well, that kind of invalidates Zcash's purpose. So, yeah, as far as there being a need for privacy, conditional privacy, that's taken care of on the Ethereum network. You can have your Ethereum, your Tether, your USDC, your DAI coin, your wrapped Bitcoin. You can mix all of those with ZK Snark technology, with zero knowledge technology, a mathematical break in the transfer record from one wallet to another. And that already exists on Ethereum now. So Zcash's core value proposition is pretty much toast. It's gone. Unfortunately, I think that's going to be the case for an increasing number of privacy-oriented coins that are dedicated privacy coins. Haven will be one of them. Mimblewimble coin, I think, as well. Grin, and a few others. Now, where do I think will be the exceptions? You know, I don't know, but I think there will be some casualties along the way. I think that one very notable exception is Monero, but we'll talk about that maybe in another video. Just want to briefly mention that as an aside, guys, while we look at this stacked ranking here. But GPU mining still looking good for a couple of coins. It's almost time to pack it up, though, based on what we saw for the profitability for each one of those GPUs. Hard drive mining has been in the dumps for a while, guys. It's just been so bad lately. Chia continues to print all-time lows, $53. It's 93% down from when we first made this portfolio. That is rough. That is extra rough. But again, look at the total market cap, and we're looking at over $200 million, and we know that the developer team has $60 million to be able to continue development. They're going to be okay. And I think that Bram Cohen is going to come back. So I'm almost tired of saying it, guys. I think this Chia is going to be like the bad penny. Next bull cycle, we're going to come back and say, well, you know, who's still around? I think we're going to see Sia Coin. We're going to see Chia. And then we're going to see MadeSafe and Storage. But I think we might see some others. Well, obviously all of these, except for maybe Signum. It's possible we're going to see Signum just drop off, while all of the rest are around because they've got these really healthy treasuries of hundreds of millions of dollars to continue development. But you tell me what you think, guys. Am I off base here? I called hard drive mining a fad when Chia tried to bring it back, and I'll stand by that. But you tell me if you disagree. Maybe I'm off base here. So, Paul Doherty saying, short Chia, best returns of the year. Nice. That's awesome, man. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I think next bull cycle, though, we're going to find that Chia does have a bit of a comeback story. Personally, that's my prediction, that Chia is going to be one of these projects from this lineup here that returns the strongest because the development team was able to weather the bear market, and extended bear market at that. They've got years worth of development capital in their treasury. So I'm not too worried about them. But moving from hard drive mineable coins over to CPU mineable coins. We got Epic Cash, still in the money. Same with Raptorium and Quantum Resistant Ledger, but it's been a rough week for these guys. Epic Cash down over 20%. It's pretty bad. Daniel J is asking, what do you think of Filecoin? You know, I think that it's got a use case right now, just as Siacoin does as well. Siacoin does as well with the Skynet that's been launched. It's unfortunately named, but I think that the leadership of these projects, they've been busy trying to create something of value. It's just going to be very difficult to get retail to see that unless we have more partnerships that make it more obvious for them. Skynet was Siacoin's big project, right? Where it's like anybody can sign up and you can make this work. But IPFS with Filecoin is another one of those things that makes it a reality. So I think we need easier tools for people to use the decentralized and unstoppable web for IPFS and Filecoin. That's my take on Filecoin in a nutshell, is that we need more lay people being able to set up something like Shopify or like WordPress on a decentralized, unstoppable, untakedownable network. And until we have that, it's going to be harder to sell the idea to retail. Just my take on it, guys. Gut level response there. Wow, Narrow, down bad. Gotta say it. Down bad, below 10 cents. Yenten still exists. What its market cap is anyone's guess. But biggest loser right now is Epic Cash, or actually Wow, Narrow from this list, then Epic Cash is looking pretty bloody, guys. Looking pretty bad. Quantum Resistant Ledger, our least worst loser. But I don't see anything here that is doing particularly well. If you know that you're still profitable on your CPU mineable coins, well, good for you. That's awesome. I think there may be some other distributed compute projects that pay more. I think we're seeing a repeat of 2018 all over again. But even that will have limited profit for a time. That's our CPU portfolio, guys. ASIC mining portfolio. We got Dogecoin, 12.8 cents. So it's still rather far ahead of Wow Narrow. And nothing is up this week. 7-day, nothing's looking very good on the ASIC mineable side of the portfolio. Let me refresh that, see if I can do a stacked ranking. This is kind of weird. There we go. Yeah, for a second there, it was not allowing for that. Litecoin is our least worst loser, but everything is losing money this week. Absolutely everything on this side of the portfolio from ASIC mineable coins. Devault also not losing a whole lot, but I mean we're looking at a market cap now that is just not enough to continue development, even as a hobby, I think, at this point. But it's not chain dead, as I understand it. So there's that. Maybe they can return next cycle. Ren BTC doing really well. Of course, just a derivative of BTC, or it's just a wrapped representation of BTC. And biggest loser appears to be TBTC. It was doing so well before, guys. You remember it was flying very high, but apparently it's because it's lost its peg. It's at $31,000. Yikes! So while we saw on the last live stream there was an arbitrage opportunity with TBTC, clearly that ended very badly. So, ouch. That just really sucks. Let's see. 37K on SBTC. It looks like Synthetics BTC is maybe not doing quite as bad. And this definitely, I believe this actually is the Synthetics. Let's check it out. Yep, it is the Synthetics version of BTC. So this is more decentralized, but it is, I think, still governed by Synthetics and their team. So there's a possibility of them shutting down coins as they see fit, or wallets as they see fit. And there's not a really solid not a really solid info on here on the price movement over the last week. But yeah, ASIC mineable coins, not a great bet. FPGA mineable coins, we were asked about Cadena by a couple people in the audience earlier on. It's one of the only coins that's still on the money, but it's been dipping pretty hard last week, down 25%. So ouch, that's pretty painful. The question was, though, I mean, the question was, will cheap miners show up for Cadena? And I think that the answer is yes. I think that everything that has to do with proof of work is going to go on sale in the next several months. I think we're already seeing it with GPUs, and we're going to continue to see that with ASICs and with FPGAs from BlackMiner or Hash Altcoin and others. The BlackMiner F1 Mini and others from Hash Altcoin, and then any other FPGAs that might be used for mining. I think we're going to see those prices go down. I think the secondhand market is going to open up on eBay and then even on Amazon. We're going to find some people selling used on Amazon because as a marketplace, it's an option for them. So I think the prices are going to go down. To what extent? I don't know exactly. I don't know exactly how much they're going to go down, but I think that those prices will decrease very, very soon. Guys, I want to thank you in advance again for smashing the thumbs up and sharing this video while we were live. It helps so much. Really appreciate that. But yeah, Cadena is the canary in the coal mine for FPGA mining. 0x Bitcoin is, it's taking a hit as well. Biggest loser on this side of the portfolio is Telor, though. All right, guys, smart contracts. Let's take a look at all these coins. Terra, Avalanche, Solana, Phantom, and Wax are still our top 5, with Cosmos Hub just barely outside of it. I've mentioned it for a while that Cosmos is one that I think is worth taking a close look at, but it has suffered, I'll say. We looked at the IBC rankings before, and Cosmos, despite the fact that it's heavily used, that hasn't really helped its price that much because it's not required to use Cosmos as a utility coin for all the rest of the IBC ecosystem. There is no utility fee, right, for using IBC, and I think that's starting to bite Cosmos Hub in the butt. They innovated this really great system that nobody has to pay them for. So that may be a problem in the near future. Hopefully not, but we might be seeing an unrecoverable price decrease in Cosmos Hub during this next bear cycle. It could be that it stays really high in terms of market cap, but that it never again returns to the ultra high prices that it had before. I think I might be the first person to say that. Because everybody else is like, got bags, right? Heavy bags of this coin. And they're like, oh, I want it to do better, but wishing ain't having. That's the thing. It's really not. And there do need to be systems of like utility fees and dev fees in order to keep development going. I know I trash talked Zcash before, but that's the reason that Zcash continued was that it had a dev fee. So there you have it. Sometimes it's important. But that's our current lineup there. Last 7 days have been interesting for Tron, apparently. I don't know how that happens or what they've been doing. But, I mean, as I mentioned, this last cycle as well, we've been seeing a lot of Tether usage on Tron. So it can't just be Tether that's being wash traded on Tron, but maybe it is. Who knows? BNB also doing least worst, as well as Ethereum, and then Tokamak Network and Neo. Inexplicably, Neo of all coins. Junk Drawer. How you doing? What we got here? We've got some of these like gag entries from Everrise and Saitama Inu. Well, let's take a look at the last 7 day to get a better idea of what's really performing well and what's not performing as well. Volt Inu up 100%, Luffy up 55%, Hex just melting faces right now at 42% up. First time seeing 18 cents in a little while, though it has kind of been like dipping, or it's been playing with the 18 cent range for a few days over the last 7 days, but definitely last 7 days have been the most interesting. Saitama Inu not dying, right? It's up 2%. DeFi Yield Protocol also going up, and then everything else is kind of dipping. It's kind of dipping pretty hard when you get to the extreme range here at Floki Inu, Kishu Inu, Sushi, and X Sushi. UFO Gaming as well. We've got double digit red days. Thorchain also part of that IBC ecosystem, but just not, I mean, for as much as utility as it offers, just not doing super well itself as a utility token. But our junk drawer has definitely seen better days, guys. I started off this live stream talking about how I am right-sizing some of my Ethereum holdings in preparation for Pulsechain. And I want to be very clear with the audience that without endorsing it or telling you, zealously, like, you have to get ready for Pulsechain. It's going to be amazing. It is going to be amazing. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a launch like so many other crypto launches. And then it will, of course, see a massive run up, and it will see a retracement like every new coin project does. No project escapes this. people get really excited, and then after the hype wears off and the initial sell-off happens, people trying to take profits, it finds some support and it lives at that support level for a while. So I'm keeping my expectations grounded as far as Pulsechain launching, and I'm looking forward to the forked copy of all of my ERC20 tokens. So I think you should do. I think you should take a look at your Ethereum holdings and see what it makes sense to maybe hold an Ethereum, but not advice. Let's see. Certec is the biggest, the least worst loser on the IBC Gang, same with Persistence, but Thorchain, Cadena, they're all Comdex, they're all getting wrecked right now. 20% down. I mean, I personally know some people who were all giddy when Comdex hit $5, and then it's been nothing but chutes and ladders. Been sliding down the chute since then, unfortunately. But yeah, that's our IBC Gang. Also, I'm not going to dwell there for too long. Tenset Gems. I want to talk to you guys about Tenset Gems really fast. We finally have a listing for the Fame MMA token, or it's listed on CoinGecko at this point. So I'm going to add that. I mentioned that before, but Fame MMA, we'll add that to the list. And at this point, it looks like 18% down. Currently trading though at 29 cents, which for a coin that was just barely launched, and I think they're doing they're doing a proper liquidity listing on PancakeSwap for BNB. I think they're selling it on the 5th. So that's an update there. But currently listing, it has a price at 29 cents. That's not the worst thing. But 7 days, right? It doesn't even have a 7-day price here. So it apparently has existed for people who are part of the early sale. But it doesn't have a 7-day price because it's that new, nor does it have a market cap because it doesn't have an official listing on PancakeSwap yet. And then once it actually has liquidity on DEXs, it should have that market cap, at least for the decentralized supply, in the same way that so many of the other Tenset Launchpad gems do at this point, even though a lot of them can also be purchased on Conga Exchange centrally. So I just wanted to call that out there. Maybe we will... No, I don't see a need actually in us adding that for right now. Tenset is back up though, 20% over the last week, so it's doing pretty darn well there. And then Fame MMA, it just doesn't have enough info for us to tell for us to see a 7-day. But over the last 24 hours, it is down quite a bit, 18%, based on the limited supply that is in circulation right now. Guys, that's our full list for the coins that I think are exciting. Fame MMA, I'm still excited about what it's going to do when Fame 14 is broadcast. I think that Fame 14 is going to it's going to be a little bit more impactful than most people realize. But let's take a look at the Fame. Let's see. So, oh my gosh. Wait. Nope, come here. So Fame 14 is actually going to be on May 14th. And I want to make sure I don't get... there we go. Make sure everything's all right. This is on suredog.com. But Fame 14 will be on May 14th. So we're mere, less than 2 weeks away. Mere days away from this event happening. And that's where I think that the magic of this coin is going to really be seen, as well as MetaHero. I think they're both going to have their little pump that corresponds to this event. I could be way off here, guys. I could be way off. But I think that because of what they're planning on doing with scanning the fighters on fight night, I think we're going to see some pretty healthy price action for both the MetaHero as well as the Fame tokens, respectively. Of course, the Everdome, not MetaHero, but well, actually all three. MetaHero, Everdome, and Fame MMA. But I think that Everdome is going to experience that pump, and I can't wait to be able to get NFTs of these players that can be, or of these fighters that can be used real time in gameplay. All right, guys, that is our show for the day. Thank you so much for your questions. Appreciate you asking. I can't wait to give you an update on the second channel where we do our basic explainers for cryptocurrency. Your support is so appreciated. Thank you for watching to the end. You're the reason to make this media. I love your face. Remember to stay private and mind your biz. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video. Remember to check out mineyourbiz, where you can sign up for Mine Your Biz Insiders, our occasional newsletter where we don't spam you, but we do send out occasional important information, including flash sales and important deals on privacy-preserving technology. This is one of the ways that we can talk to you without censorship and without the oversight of third-party media platforms. You can also check out the new Mine Your Biz phone, as well as merch or sign up to become an affiliate for anything sold directly on the mineyourbiz website. You can earn a percentage of anything that we sell. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video. You're the reason I make this media. I love your face. Remember to stay private and mind your biz.